On Christmas Day 2025, as the first rays of sunlight touched the rooftops of Caracas, Venezuela awoke to news that would ripple across the nation. In a country long accustomed to hardship and uncertainty, an unexpected act of clemency brought a rare sense of hope and anticipation. Over 60 students, activists, and ordinary citizens, many of whom had been detained for months or even years, were suddenly released from detention centers. Their names had become symbols of resistance and struggle, and their freedom was met with disbelief and cautious optimism. Outside prisons like Tocaron, families who had endured sleepless nights and endless waiting finally embraced their loved ones. Tears flowed freely as parents, siblings, and children reunited, their relief and happiness mingling with the pain of memories they could not forget. For many, these reunions were the first moments of true joy after months of fear and uncertainty. President Nicolas Maduro's government quickly framed the mass release as a generous holiday gesture, a sign of goodwill during a season meant for forgiveness and new beginnings. On the streets, reactions were mixed. Some saw it as a long overdue act of compassion, while others questioned the timing and motives behind the decision. Yet, even as some celebrated, the reality remained stark for many others. Hundreds of political prisoners and detainees were left behind, their families still waiting anxiously outside prison gates, clinging to hope that their loved ones might be next. Human rights organizations, both within Venezuela and abroad, hailed the release as a small but significant victory. They credited relentless advocacy, tireless protests, and mounting international pressure for forcing the government's hand. Still, they cautioned that this was only a first step in a much longer journey toward justice and accountability. Across Venezuela, conversations buzzed in plazas and homes. Was this a genuine step toward national reconciliation, or merely a calculated move by the government to ease international scrutiny and domestic unrest? Many wondered if the gesture would be followed by real reforms, or if it was simply a temporary measure to quiet critics. For the families who were reunited, the moment was bittersweet. Their joy was undeniable, but it was shadowed by the knowledge that so many others remained imprisoned, their fates uncertain. Parents clung to photos of sons and daughters still behind bars, hoping that their turn would come soon. The broader question persists. What does this mean for justice and freedom in Venezuela? As the sun set on Christmas Day, the country found itself at a crossroads, caught between hope and skepticism, and wondering if this glimmer of light would grow or fade away in the days to come. To understand the Christmas releases, we must revisit the turbulent July 2024 presidential election. President Maduro's bid for a third term sparked outrage, with widespread allegations of fraud and voter intimidation. The official results, declaring Maduro the winner, ignited mass protests across Venezuela. Ordinary citizens joined activists in the streets, demanding democracy and respect for their votes. The government's response was swift and forceful, deploying security forces to suppress dissent. International condemnation followed, with many nations refusing to recognize the results. The protests marked a turning point, plunging Venezuela into a deepening human rights crisis. The consequences of that disputed election still reverberate today. In the wake of the election, the government launched a sweeping crackdown. Security forces detained over 2,400 people, protesters, bystanders, and anyone suspected of dissent. Many were arrested without warrants, denied legal counsel, and held incommunicado. Human rights groups documented widespread abuses, calling the detentions arbitrary and illegal. International outrage grew, with new sanctions imposed on Venezuelan officials. Despite pressure, the government defended its actions as necessary for national security. While most detainees were eventually released, hundreds remained imprisoned, becoming symbols of political repression. Their cases galvanized activists and legal advocates who refused to let their stories be forgotten. The Christmas release, while significant, is only a small step. As of December 2025, at least 902 political prisoners remain in Venezuela, according to Foro Penal. These detainees are scattered across harsh prisons, often held alongside violent criminals. Their only crime is opposing the government, journalists, politicians, protesters, and ordinary citizens alike. The existence of so many political prisoners undermines any claim to democracy. Foro Penal's work, documenting cases and providing legal aid, is vital in exposing the true scale of repression. The gap between official rhetoric and the reality for hundreds of families remains vast. In Venezuela, the fight for human rights is not just a political struggle. It is a deeply personal battle waged by activists, families, and ordinary citizens who refuse to be silenced. Every day, these brave individuals take to the streets, organize rallies, and share the stories of their loved ones, demanding justice and freedom for those unjustly detained. Their courage and determination are the driving force behind a movement that refuses to give up, even in the face of intimidation and repression. At the heart of this movement is the Committee for the Freedom of Political Prisoners, led by Andrina Baduel. In the wake of the Christmas releases, Baduel and her team responded with cautious optimism, recognizing the significance of these moments while remaining vigilant about the ongoing challenges. Their work is a testament to the power of collective action and the importance of never losing hope, even when progress seems slow. We celebrate the release of more than 60 Venezuelans who should never have been detained, Baduel stated, her voice echoing the pain and relief felt by so many families. She underscored the injustice of their imprisonment, reminding the world that behind every statistic is a human story. A family torn apart, a life put on hold, a community left waiting for answers. Yet, as Baduel emphasized, the struggle is far from over. The fight continues not only for those who have recently regained their freedom, but for the countless others who remain behind bars, their voices silenced but not forgotten. Each protest, each embrace outside a detention center, is a powerful reminder that the movement endures. Human rights organizations across Venezuela play a crucial role in this ongoing battle. They meticulously document abuses, provide vital support to families, and collect testimonies that challenge the government's narrative. Their tireless efforts help ensure that the truth cannot be erased, and that the stories of the oppressed are heard both at home and abroad. Through candlelight vigils, public demonstrations, and acts of solidarity, these organizations and individuals transform pain into purpose. Their work is both an act of defiance against injustice and a beacon of hope for a better future. Every release, every reunion outside prison gates, is a powerful reminder of what's at stake. These moments of joy and relief fuel the determination of those still fighting, showing the world why the struggle for freedom must go on. The resilience and unwavering spirit of Venezuela's human rights advocates keep the flame of justice alive, inspiring others to join the fight and believe that change is possible. The Christmas releases came with strings attached. The freed individuals remain in legal limbo, charges are not dropped, and conditions restrict their freedom. Many face travel bans, must report to authorities, and are barred from political activity. This revolving door policy keeps former detainees under constant threat of rearrest. The psychological toll is immense, as families live in fear of renewed persecution. The government uses these conditional releases to ease international pressure while maintaining control. True freedom means unconditional release and restoration of rights, something still out of reach for most. Behind every political prisoner is a family living in crisis. The arrest of a loved one plunges families into financial hardship and emotional turmoil. Mothers travel for hours to visit sons in remote prisons, scraping together money for food and medicine. Many families are forced into poverty, with children growing up in the shadow of injustice. The psychological strain is profound. Anxiety, depression, and trauma are common. The Christmas releases brought relief to a few, but hundreds of families continue to suffer. Their stories reveal the true human cost of political repression. The fight for human rights is about healing these wounds, not just freeing individuals. Andrina Baduel's advocacy is deeply personal. For her, the fight for justice is not just a cause, it's a promise she made to her father and to herself. Every step she takes is fueled by memories of her family's suffering and the hope that no one else will have to endure the same pain. Her father, Raúl Isaias Baduel, was once a powerful ally of Hugo Chavez, a respected general who played a pivotal role in Venezuela's history. But after he spoke out against the government, he was branded a traitor and became a political prisoner. His fall from grace was swift and public, sending shockwaves through the nation and devastating his family. In 2021, Raúl Baduel died in custody under suspicious circumstances. His family, along with human rights organizations, continue to demand answers, refusing to accept the official narrative. The pain of his loss lingers, a constant reminder of the risks faced by those who dare to dissent. Instead of silencing Andreina, her father's death only strengthened her resolve. She transformed her grief into a driving force, standing alongside other families whose loved ones have been unjustly detained. Her voice, once filled with sorrow, now rings with determination and hope. Through her leadership, Andreina has become a beacon for families of the detained. She organizes rallies, offers support, and reminds them that their struggle is not in vain. Her courage inspires others to speak out, even when fear and uncertainty threaten to overwhelm them. Channeling her pain into action, Andreina demands justice and dignity for all political prisoners. She confronts authorities, speaks to the media, and refuses to let her father's legacy be forgotten. Her relentless advocacy keeps the spotlight on those who cannot speak for themselves. Her story is a testament to the power of personal conviction in the face of oppression. Despite threats and intimidation, she stands firm, proving that one person's courage can ignite a movement. Through Andreina, the movement for freedom in Venezuela finds both a voice and a symbol of resilience. Her unwavering spirit continues to inspire hope, reminding us all that even in the darkest times, the fight for justice endures. The Christmas Day releases offer a fragile hope for Venezuela. They show that pressure from activists and the international community can make a difference. But with over 900 political prisoners still detained, the fight is far from over. True progress requires systemic change, an independent judiciary, due process, and respect for dissent. The international community must keep up the pressure and support Venezuelan human rights defenders. The stories of families torn apart must remain in the spotlight. The goal is full freedom and justice for all unjustly detained. The courage of advocates like Andreina Maduro keeps hope alive. The road ahead is long, but moments like these remind us that change is possible.